So welcome to the Aether TST on May 16th, 2023. So let's get started. Let's start off with the rock status. I think I saw Jordan on the call. Did you have anything to update with rock status, Jordan?
Um, yeah, so I'm currently working on we're focusing really hard on improving test coverage. And so I think probably in the next week or so you'll see a lot of pull requests coming in for uh improving the test coverage in a lot of packages inside of Onos config that just didn't have any tests at all. Uh we were blocked. We were also trying to do a release uh um a week ago, and we were blocked on the ONF infrastructure, but that blocker seems to have been resolved now, and we're able to release those components again. So that is no longer a blocker. And so now we're just back to working on hardening stuff. So not much else other than that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I missed it. What was kind of your timeline for maybe doing the next release?
So I think probably in a couple of weeks. So I'm finishing a lot of tests in the sprint, which for us will end at the beginning of next week, and then I think we'll do a release after that, which should have significant bug fixes and some performance improvements. So,
and will the new test cases also be getting released?
yes. Yeah, we're using a new approach to testing that gets like really high coverage on the critical code that hasn't been really well tested at all up until now. So,
can you say anything about that approach?
It's model-based testing. So we've been doing a lot of research on different approaches to testing. So we've started employing fuzz testing pretty extensively, which I'll probably also integrate into the rock work at some point. But for the core components of the rock, for the core logic, we have a formal model of the logic that basically we use to test that the rock won't hang when it's configuring a target or something like that. And it adheres to all these consistency rules. But up until now, there was no way to really use that formal model to test the code. And I've been working for quite a long time on trying to fix that and using the actual formal models to test the code. And I figured it out like a month ago. And so now this will be the first case where we actually use the formal model to test actual code, and it basically gets you like 100% test coverage with a huge number of test cases testing every branch of the logic inside of Onos config, which is where most of the bugs that we've seen in the past have been. And I actually just working on the tests, I've already found and fixed some bugs that we've never actually seen when running it. So I think it's going to be a pretty big improvement to the stability, which is all that we're interested in right now.
Yeah, that's quite exciting. And so is there a particular tool set or whatnot that is needed to run this verification?
Nope. No, they're from the perspective of running them, they're just normal Go tests. So I'm going to commit a really large file, which is basically the corpus. It has it's like a compressed JSON file that has like hundreds of thousands of test cases that are basically represented in JSON. And the test case basically just reads through that file and runs all of the tests, which the tests are output by a model checker, so that the model checker basically outputs these tests that test every possible scenario in the code, so that you can verify that with different orders, with different inputs, it behaves as it's supposed to. So, and the goal is to, especially for that critical code, to get absolutely 100% coverage, because I think because bugs in the past that we've seen in there have been pretty catastrophic, right? Like when something inside of the rock hangs or something like that, or deadlocks, you basically, like, our only solution in the past has been to wipe out the cluster, which is not really a tenable solution. So we're trying to eliminate that entirely, which hopefully those 100% coverage for that critical code will do that. So
yeah, pretty cool. So well, I'm just thinking kind of both short-term and long-term, kind of getting, you know, this into the whole sort of CI/CD or maybe the QA kind of life cycle. So when others make changes to Rock in the future, I mean, I guess all the tooling is in there to automatically update these coverage tests as well.
yes, so actually this was the reason that I was really interested in this approach is specifically for CI/CD. I don't know when we'll get there, but my long-term vision for it is when somebody submits a pull request, makes a change to that critical code that's inside of Onos config, it will run those tests. And if those tests fail, that indicates that the code, the logic itself was changed and in a way that it no longer adheres to the formal model. In which case, you can't merge the pull request. You have to go and change the formal model and verify that your change basically doesn't introduce a deadlock into the system, doesn't introduce a consistency issue into the system. So that will force us to sort of check that that critical code is actually safe before PRs are merged. And I've actually been working with, so the team that works on the formal method that I'm using, it's TLA Plus, is at Microsoft Research. And I've actually been talking to them, meeting with them every now and then to try to, so I to try to reach this exact goal. So figure out how we can make it sort of performant enough and like easy enough to work with that we can integrate it into the CI/CD process. So yeah, that's the ultimate goal, but I think that will probably take a few months to figure out that whole process. But I think it's well worth it because I mean, they basically serve as regression tests, guaranteeing that people cannot introduce, because this was like the issue that we had with Onos config before. I think when we first wrote it, it was kind of stable, but then people were making changes, and the logic can be sort of complicated, and it's sort of easy to introduce bugs. And so I'm trying to eliminate that risk with these 100% test coverage and basically forcing us to update the formal model and verify the logic if we're making changes to the logic.
Yeah, it sounds really encouraging. Thanks, Jordan, for the update. I'll be really curious to hear more and excited to see this introduced.
Yeah, and I think I can I'd definitely be interested in giving a talk on this more extensively once it's finished and I have a pull request in place at least.
Yeah, that would be terrific. And so, yeah, let's try to plan for that and sort of capture it, you know. So I think that would be good educationally for others as they are kind of, you know, trying to adopt the code as well. Okay.
Cool. Anything else, Jordan, that you want to report here?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay. So in that case, let's move on to SD core status. Do we have anybody on the call who can give an update about that?
So I'm sorry, this is Sagar, but I just have a question with respect to the rock status. So Jordan, as you mentioned that the infra issue has been resolved. So I believe that was the Helm chart related issue, which was .36 was supposed to be released. Is that ready, and can we take that up to test the 900 UV tests?
That's a good question. I need to talk to Sean. I think so. I made changes to a couple of the Helm charts and released them, but I was waiting on Sean to do a couple more releases, so I'm not sure if he did that. But I'm sure we can get it done real quick if we need to. I'll ping him.
Yeah, and once you have that update, so I'll really appreciate if you can, you know, either send a message or an email over the group so that we can take that up.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Jordan.
One more question on the same topic. That is a independent release or it is integrated with Ether ramp or something that
So I did an independent release, and Sean is going to work on updating other Helm charts that are relevant to Ether, because basically the release that I did is basically just of the independent micro Onos component, and Sean will update the other charts.
yeah, okay. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Okay. Any other questions about the rock or Micronus? Okay, moving on to SD core status. Is there any update there? Earlier, I don't think I saw anybody from the SD core team on the call. So maybe there's nothing. Going once?
Yeah, I don't see anybody.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on to Ether QA status. Yeah, I'm not sure who added these notes. Is there anybody who can speak to these?
Yes, Kunal this side. I'll take this up.
Okay.
Yeah. So for SDK release 1.3 testing, as suggested by Ajay in the last TST, he suggested that UE ransom is one of the you can say an alternative to GNB SIM, because a lot of features might not be supported, or we might get blocked due to that. So we have gone through UE ransom, how it, what all features it supports, and I can find out that UE ransom, has more features than GNB SIM, and the profiles which are supported in GNB SIM are kind of subset of UE ransom. So it's a good tool that we have find out, but yeah, we have to see how much and what all things needs to be tested from UE ransom, and how much test we can cover through UE ransom. So that is in progress. We are going to and find out the coverage of UE, the test coverage using UE ransom. So we will share that once that is done. Next is test cases. So we have wrote a few test cases on the features which are well understood, and we had a few queries also. So we have updated that in the testing manual document that we have shared earlier as well. So we can, we are waiting for SDGO team to, SDGO dev team can share their feedback on the test cases and review them. Also, we have
Can we
listed a
stop
few
there for a
queries.
second?
Sure,
So,
sure.
so who are you expecting to provide that review?
SDGO dev team.
And have they
Ajay and team.
and have they agreed to provide that review?
Yeah, I have messaged Ajay for the same. So we are waiting for an update from him.
So you've asked for a review, but there's been no commitment to provide a review?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And also on unclear features, also we are waiting for a discussion or a call with SDCO dev team, so that we can understand these features better, and if we have a feature doc or a requirement document that would be really helpful for us to setting up acceptance criteria and prevent any kind of bug leakage on these features.
Okay, so but so far you've just made requests to the SD core team, but there's no commitment to the review or commitment to this call. Is that right?
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Kunal, especially for requirement document, right?
Yes. So yeah, we understand that while discussing the requirements, we were not available. So we were not there. So that's why if a document would be shared, then that would be really helpful for us to go through the initial requirements, and a feature doc would help us in validating if the requirements are met or not. So that would really help us in finding out if there is a requirement mismatch or something like that. So that is something we are awaiting. So next is test execution. So as we have written a few test cases depending on our understanding, we have planned to run some P1 test cases, but yeah, we are blocked due to a SMF crash issue that Larry has reported earlier. So with Ether on ramp and I think with AIAB as well, when we deploy it with the latest, we see a SMF crash on the SD card side. So in the deployment itself. So that is why we are blocked here, and we are waiting for SD card dev team to provide a fix. So Larry has sent an email, and Ajay has shared that he'll be working on this issue this week. So that is why we are awaiting a fix on that.
Is there a Jira ticket for this?
Jira ticket is not mentioned in the email, but there is an email where Ajay has confirmed that he'll be working on it.
Well, we don't have the SD core people here, but I guess I would expect that we'd be using Jira for passing information, and tracking and whatnot.
Anytime, and I'm here, I should probably. I thought the SMF crash issue was solved, and we've raised. I think with the latest release, we added this fix for this SMF crash, but I'll confirm with Ankur and let you know. And for the call, again, I think we are. There's probably some demos going on in here at Intel, and probably we're busy with that. Probably after that, we'll sync with and set up this call, answer the queries.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes, Badri, thank you. So I guess we were proceeding, are we skipped over the SD core status? Because I don't think you were here. You joined late, if I'm not mistaken.
But not too late. Yes, currently I think what I at least from I gather from Ankur is that we have checked in all the changes that we needed for the helm chart. We were just trying to update the 1.3.0 helm chart with the correct SMF and other image tags. We have updated the master branch already. That is okay. There were some issues in the overall the CI process that runs, and I think DAP was working with Ankur. And today we raised this last 1.3.0 helm chart update, and I think once this is done, I think we'll be done with all the changes. But I'm like you mentioned below. I think the SMS crash thing is already fixed with these new image tags. Probably you can give it a try, but I'll confirm this back with if this is the same crash or this is some new one.
All right, well, that's good news. And so if we go back down into the QA status, you were just talking about being blocked by this SMF crash. So there's a bit of information flow that hasn't flowed, I guess, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess this should be, because I remember, but I'll confirm again. I'll probably get back to you by today and confirm whether I need to understand which crash issue you're talking about. If you can probably share a link or something, I can look at it and confirm if it's the same build. So
Well, it's not for me to say, but it seems to me like a tool like Jira is ideal for this kind of information
yeah.
tracking and flow, and I'm
Gotcha.
curious why we're not using it.
We could, but which Jira would we use? From the ONF Jira or?
Well, really a good question. Again, I'm not in a position to answer. I've not really looked at it or spent time, but I think it's for maybe this group, if we're going to remain kind of well coordinated between this QA function and contributions coming in from the community. I think there should be an ONF Jira, I would think, but again, it's this group that needs to decide. Maybe we should just put this on the agenda for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to continue with the KEDA exploration?
Yeah.
Explore?
Yeah, that KEDA exploration is in progress. So one of the feature is developed over using KEDA. So this is basically an auto scaling. You can say an auto scaling tool. So using that, I think AMF and SMF are going to be auto scaled based on the events coming in. So we are exploring that. We will be going through how this auto scaling works. So we will go through it and we'll have an understanding on. We'll share our understanding on that, and we'll try to connect with the feature understanding as well, so that we'll have a clear picture on that.
So, I can probably add some clarity on it. That the overall the feature was that we want to showcase that the NFs of SD4 can auto scale. But the auto scaling is kind of depends on the deployment that we do, and there are various tools you can use for auto scaling. So KEDA was one of the open source ones that I had explored, and I put the steps there how to simulate that in the AIAB. There are multiple options we can do this with, like either we can do it with CPU, memory, like CPU based auto scaling, memory based auto scaling, or you could use the metrics, specific metrics that are coming out of these NF to auto scale. So given the various options there, you can just follow the steps and try if it works. And yeah, it's up to whoever wants to use this feature can use it. KEDA is just one way of doing it. So
So is it documented somewhere, or?
Yeah, I put it on the SD4 docs on how to do the auto scaling using KEDA also. Like exactly what files you need to change and in the AIAB. You can just, is it not part of the SD4 doc? But it's there in the list.
So Badri, for completeness, could we put a link to this document that you're talking about in the agenda here, just so?
Yeah, I'm just searching for it.
Okay, cool.
I'm just adding it to the chat.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything else to say about that?
No, but just
Okay.
follow the steps. Let us know if you face issue. We can help out.
Sure, that would be. Thank you. So, yeah, moving on to three-node cluster, I think Preetham would help us with that. Preetham, could you take this?
Yeah, sure. Yes, yes. Yeah. We do able to make the cluster as a manually in the cluster. A cluster is like one master node and two worker node, and manually we are able to install RK2 on one master node, and automatically it will share the load on worker nodes. And for the same, we do make changes in the makefile as well.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some progress being made there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have added a new target for deploying Ether on ramp with three-node cluster. So this, I mean, we had a discussion with Larry on this, and earlier we discussed that the Kajit's setup is like all the three nodes are going to be master and workers as well. So one would be the master node, and the other two would be the standby masters. So I mean, we had a discussion after that, and Larry suggested that it would be fine if we will have one master and two worker nodes as of now, and then we will plan to go into those different configurations, and um, we will proceed like that. So for now, we have, I mean, created successfully created three-node cluster manually, and then we have tried automating it and added a new target for this for creating three-node cluster using that target, and we have named it as three-node prep as of now.
Okay, so when you say in the make file, is this the Ether on-ramp make file?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay,
for
so
now, it's sorry. For now, it's without HA. Maybe in future we'll do it for HA as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last bit. Can you repeat that?
Now it's without HA, means high availability, but we'll plan to do it for HA as well, means for high availability.
Okay.
Same setup. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. And so so you've been in communication with Larry about this, and I assume he'll guide you about how to contribute this to Ether on ramp, because I know that his vision is to continue growing.
Yes.
But he's not on the call right now, so I guess maybe there's not much more to talk about there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, thank you for the update. Is there anything else that we need to discuss during this meeting, or can we adjourn? Does anybody else have any agenda items?
One thing, like I'm not sure if that point was covered about the CI job failures for the Helm charts. That continues to be there. So maybe David, you're there.
So are you talking about,
So documents and
in a-
as well as Helm chart updates, every time it fails into pushing the either the updated website or updated Helm charts to the charts repository. Both types of job continues to fail, and then it needs manual trigger. And that's like we have to reach out to David to fix it. Yeah, and it had happened multiple times in last probably 2 weeks.
I guess we had heard earlier today, Ajay, that the release issues were resolved in the ONF infra. But what you're saying is that they're not resolved.
No, okay. So so the issues are resolved by manually triggering the jobs, which we had to send emails to David to get it through. Still, I believe there is one last request outstanding, which we need to get it merged. And what we are looking for is that the permanent solution for this job failure.
Yeah, so
Even the dummy changes continues to fail. I mean, it's nothing to do with the regular jobs as such. Yeah.
so Simon, I as far as I know, the release process, the release jobs, the CI for the repositories that we're working on, Onos config and the Helm chart repos are fixed, but I'm not entirely sure if it's fixed everywhere else, because this same issue that we were running into existed basically on all the repositories. I haven't really scanned through them though. So.
All right, got it. And yeah, unfortunately, it looks like David's not here. Is this you just doing sort of one-on-one Slacks with David, or is there a channel where this is getting tracked?
So we send email to David, not on the Slack. Mostly Ankur from our side has been following up with the David to get this issue resolved. Yeah.
All right.
So you prefer that we can keep this on the channel? We can do that. I mean, and from now onward we can do that.
Well, he tends to be pretty good on Slack as well. So I just was hoping if there was a Slack channel, I wanted to see what was going on. So just looking for it. Okay. Let us know if you remain stuck here somehow. I've been away kind of for a week on family business, so I'm just catching up and want to figure out if we're stuck anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else to discuss? Okay, I think not. So in that case, let's adjourn the meeting.
Sorry to bother. Just
Yeah.
one point. So and especially this is a request to Ajay and team. As mentioned by Kunal, for the SD core release testing, we have some modules which are very well understood from the release notes, but there are a few modules which are really not clear to us, and that's where I believe Kunal has asked Ajay and team if we can get on a short call or something, that would help us to really review the currently written test cases, and also help us to resolve the doubts that we have for the features which are not very clear clear. So if that can be done sometime soon, then that will be really helpful.
I do remember Kunal sending some mails to review. I don't remember he asked for any meeting, but I'll prefer to, like, if he starts the Slack conversation with me, and if he still thinks that he needs the meeting, then I'm there. Yeah.
Sure. So that can be done as well. Yeah. And just a quick question, since
and keeping it on the Aether dev will help, so that I can pull in the other required people. Okay.
Awesome. That would be helpful. And since
Yeah.
the one more request, quick one. Since Badri and you both are here, so Badri kind of later confirmed that the SMF issue that was pointed out by Larry last week was been resolved. Or is it resolved really, or should we just go ahead and use?
Yeah, so this correction, so issue was not pointed out by Larry. When we were continuing our test, we found out that issue. And
okay.
those issues are fixed, updated. I guess there is one final job is pending, right? That's what I was
Okay.
like highlighting, is that we need some help from
Okay.
David. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, I mean, the code is checked in, the document is updated, and Helm chart is also updated. Final umbrella Helm chart, I guess, is stuck. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Would you it would be really kind of you if you can, let us know, maybe even on the Aether Dev channel, that would be helpful as well, that once
Okay.
that
Yeah.
final thing is been done, so that we can safely
Yeah.
go ahead and do that, right? Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ajay.
Okay, anything else? All right, well, in that case, let's adjourn the meeting. So thank you all, and talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.